Hi everyone, Sammy here again. So this is where we started off last time on this little project. So we've got a lot of work ahead. Obviously, this sound right here is just a placeholder for now. It's not very good. These are the drum sounds we've already got going. And this is what I'll be working on today. I'm just going to show you how you can quickly set up something nice and simple like this. And yeah, this is the main little trick, is just to use a Haas delay. So you have your delay time set extremely short on the left, and then you extend it a little bit on the right. So if I turn that off, so it widens it up. The problem is it kind of makes an emphasis on either the left or the right. So one of the things you can do is to sort of use the Haas delay, but with variation on different sounds. Also, I've got ping pong mode enabled, which changes it again. Actually might take that off. Take a listen. Yeah, it's better without it. I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's better without it, and it still sounds really good. By the way, if you wonder how I record these, well, it's a little bit of interesting setup. I've got the RME interface, and I'm actually recording the audio right here from my mic, and this is the DAW Ableton coming back. And what's nice about this is on a PC it's not so easy to do screen recording because all the driver types. So on a Mac it's really simple, but with a PC, if you try to use the direct audio, it's going to run like crap. So what's nice with the RME is it lets me actually use the RME's driver right here, and I can still route audio right into the recording here, and it will give me a I think it's called an interleaved wave file, and then I open it up in Cubase and split it, so I've got the DAW and the mic separately. So that's another nice touch, because I'll undoubtedly have to edit this slightly at least most of the time. So that's my setup for recording. Anyway, so by the way, let's get to the actual production here. And I've actually, I was supposed to do this perhaps last weekend, but I've been working a lot on just figuring out more things that we can do in Ableton to create some more interesting parts. One of the first things I'm going to do though is actually reduce the dry wet on this kick because it's a little heavy. So if you listen to this kick, that's just a little bit, there's too much energy in the higher range there. I'm just going to reduce it. And one of the things I've been thinking of doing is setting up, putting this in an instrument rack and setting up some macros on key parameters and tuning them, tweaking them very slightly so that I can actually move the parameters around on here without being too extreme, without losing the original settings. But I'll work on that, and if it works out good, I'll come back and show you what to do, or some tips on how to do it. So let's get started. So we're starting with only what's built in. So I've come down here to our packs and drum machines, and we've got some shakers, which are always good. So this is a nice little close shaker, but the other ones are not so good, but we'll try it out with some filtering and EQ. A little trick here as well is I'm going to bring in a closed hi-hat just to show you how I line up the shaker. So if we put the shaker here, and then we put in the hi-hat, if you look at the transients, they're quite different. So you got your hi-hats very spot on. Let's just bring that in even closer. Then you got the shaker, which has some time to build up. So you can hear it's a little off. It's not a big problem, but if you want to line it up, you can just do it this way. So that's not the direction I want to go in. Oops. Okay, let's try it here. Might need more resolution. That sounds pretty good though. It sounds... I think I'll say it's close enough. Then we'll put in some shakers. So here's the problem with this. It's you know, a very static sound. So we're gonna have to work on this a little bit. But if we listen to that with the kick, and then we grab our echo. Actually, let's grab delay, and we'll do the same thing here. feedback to 0. We can take the filter off, 100% wet. Alright, so that's sounding good. We'll work on this next. And I think with shakers, you can get away with cutting out a lot of low end just to make them a little bit more lighter. And then we probably want to work on the velocity, so I'll turn that up. And let's try and work on the velocity of these right here. So let's get rid of all this. Oops. And let's just work on this little loop here. We don't really need it to be 4 bars. Okay, that's sounding good. So let me get rid of this here and we'll create a new one just for the sake of the video. So I mentioned earlier about having everything sort of focused on, there's more energy I think on the right speaker in this case. So we'll do the opposite here. So we'll set this to 0 and, well, as close to 0 as we can, and we'll raise this one up. Now let's take a look at the packs. I mean, there's these basic drum machine types right here. I find these are pretty useful. I quite like this hi-hat sound, the 606, but it's a little tricky to work with sometimes because it's very cutting. So maybe we'll take out some of the fade in the beginning here. Not too much. And I think that if we use very clean, crisp sounds, we'll get a good result. So that's a bit too heavy, unless we would high pass that a lot. And I wouldn't use any of these in this context. So let's take a look at maybe we can make use of this open hi-hat here. It's pretty dirty, but let's try doing a choke. That is, we bring in the returns. Nope, we bring in the I/O. We'll put this on the same choke here. So, I'm thinking. And then we definitely need a little bit of extra stuff going on. So we'll put that in here, we'll high pass it. That's nice. And let's do this. That sounds nice. Now this definitely needs some high passing. And I think I'll only have it come in once every 2 bars. I'm digging that. Let's just go ahead and put a Cable Guys volume shaper. We could be lazy with Kickstart. I'll do volume shaper. Actually, I'm actually going to upgrade this to the latest volume shaper because what's really nice about the latest one is you can do this split band. Whereas right now it's just a volume shaper, obviously across the entire spectrum. There we go. Let's just take a listen to some isolation. Oops. That sounds a lot better. There must be something we can do with this though. That's a little better. Very cool. I have a feeling it's not in the right key anymore. This is just a placeholder anyway. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Let's get to the clap. So we could just put this clap in right here. You know, it's okay. We could do a lot better. But let's just try out the house effect. You know, I should probably, you know what I should do is save this. So if we go to, well, we can save it as default. We can save it here as Haas. And the nice thing is I can put this in one of these favorites. So if I go here, I can bring this up anytime I want now. And that's a big improvement, just putting that on there. A big improvement. But let's take a look at some of the other samples available to us. I found some really nice ones in Punch and Tilt the other day, which I don't have on here right now. But before we do that, let's talk about synthesizing one or two of these sounds too. So what is this supposed to be? Alright, so that's not what I want. Let's get rid of that. So first of all, a shaker is not too hard to make at all here. So if we start with this, and to get this to sound more like noise, we can modulate it a little bit. And then we'll bring in the noise right here. Bit quiet. And then we'll simply bring in an EQ. I'll try to emphasize that right there. Let's see what else we can do to this. There we go, got rid of that tone that was in there. It's not quite sharp enough though. That sounds like a good shaker. So we'll try that out. And there's some cool things you can do as well because you've got control over this. So we could use the velocity to modulate the amp decay. So we can make a nice short one. So let's hear what this sounds like. And that's too long. So let's go with the decay here. And there's something up with the setting. So what I might want to modulate instead or simultaneously is like the amp, the decay, and the release. Also, another problem is I've got this very short. The idea though is we might be able to get a very short little hit in. So what we could do here is say have the velocity also modulate the attack. Let's try that out. So what I'm doing here, so I've got to think about this for a second. So lower velocity should give us a longer attack time. There's two ways to do it. You can do it totally the opposite way. You can set a long attack to start with. And that's kind of giving us almost, but this is way too short. So there's got to be a fine tuning here. this is the quality content you wanted to see. I mean, that'll do. It sounds pretty cool. That's it without it. It certainly adds a lot. And what we could do next is, I don't think we have pan on this, so we'll just go to our effects here and we'll do auto pan. And if we set it to something like 1.4. I don't know if that's too slow. We'll do it to 1.8. A bit quiet. Something's pretty... So let's group these two now, actually, and we'll EQ them because there's a lot of sharpness in the high end that I'm not keen on. So let's take a listen to that. Yeah, this is a little spitty. Actually, let's take some low off. So that's with EQ. This is before. So it just takes away some of the harshness. Oh, and I wanted to go to the clap. So call this shaker. It sounds pretty fast even though we're only at 125. It's because it's so busy with the shakers. I think they just do a lot for a track like this. One thing, of course, we could do you could always try a little bit of sidechain. Let's just grab this right here. That just keeps it under control. And then, yeah, the clap. So, again, we're going to synthesize like some noise, but with a little bit different emphasis this time. Let's go to our white noise here. Oh, this isn't working. Okay, I think that'll do. So if we reduce the sustain, get it nice and snappy. And so from here, the way I try to do it is I'm going to make two of these. Let's duplicate that. And one of them is going to be the sort of top end and one of them is going to be the bottom. We'll group them. What? All right. Wrong key. Okay, clap. So the first one is going to be the noisy part. These are both going to be very short. So let's take a listen to that. The next one, I'm going to move it slightly ahead or behind, whatever. No, it's ahead. And I'm going to make it pretty short. And this one, I'm going to try to get more emphasis on the mid range, which I'm not sure I'm going to do, but I have done it before. So you kind of hear it already. So let's do some EQ. Okay, let's try that out. It's pretty wimpy. So let's play around with this a little bit. And then we can try to add some snap. I like that though. It's already pretty wide. I don't know what happened if we put the harsh delay on here. Sounds better, in my opinion. Let's see what else we can do to spice this up, though. I don't think this is going to work. Nope. I don't really think that's doing anything. Oh, we could do a little saturator. I don't think that's doing anything either. Do a little bit of reverb before it. Let's see what we get. It's a bit long. It's not perfect at the moment, but I think if we sampled that and then reprocessed it and added some more parts, we could make this a better clap. Right now it's basically just noise. But then again, we could always just add another sample to kind of reinforce it and see what we get. So we'll get that clap back. What have we got over here? Oh, there's a clap. I think the combination of these two is pretty good. And then there's always, well, if you wanted to add a little bit of grit, there is an interesting processor for that. I don't know if it's Redux. No, it's not Redux. It's the other one that gives you a bit of noise. Let's find it. It's erosion. Adds a lot of low end though. If you really want to get more interesting with this, the Max for Live reverb is going to be a lot more fun. Oh, I don't have it installed. I wonder how long that'll take. I think it's the essentials. Yeah, it's going to take a few moments. So we'll leave that going. I really want granulator as well. This can't hurt. Or that. And there's one more that's pretty good though. The pitch and tilt. I wonder if I have it. There it is. Alright, so this will do for today's drums. I think we've got something nice going. Still not crazy about this kick. Something probably going to work on the most. Just want more sub out of it, I guess. So let's go to the envelope with the loop. What happens if we go to none? Where is this anyway? It's pretty low. Yeah, can't go any lower than that. So one of the cool things you can do with the kick though is if we bounce this down, and then we get in a sampler or a simpler. We drop that in here, mute that. Put it on this. And we'll crop this down. So one of the things we can do now is do that pitch again, the pitch trick. So it's right here. Start with a small amount. Something interesting is going on here. I wonder if it's... Okay, well, let's move it there. Very interesting. So I'll let you decide if that's better or worse. For my money, it's just different. I do prefer it. But then we can go on and process it further. I always find taking off a little bit of the low end helps. See if changing anything up here helps. You know what? That's okay. I'm not sure if I'll ever be satisfied with the kick that I've sort of created myself, but I think we can do this. We can just turn this off. Hide it for now. Okay, so that's the drums. I really want to get into the next parts of this, and then we can continue to tweak it. So the next thing, well, it depends really. The next thing could be work on a better bass line. It could be sort of creating some jams to come up with some ideas for the music itself. The main thing we want to do later on is come in here and start to rearrange the drums a little bit so that they're a bit more spaced out and not so constantly busy. So we'll look at that as we go. I think the next thing I'm probably going to do is create like a pad sound. We'll resample that, we'll run it through an infinite reverb, and we'll resample it and we'll see what we can do. Well, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.